you're not perfect, and it's okay. It's perfectly okay. You're just a baby. You're just a little baby trying to learn something new. I've battled a lot with feeling guilt and shame on this healing journey, particularly because when I look back at my past, I am ashamed that I wasn't better, that I wasn't a different person, that I didn't see things clearly. But it's sort of like, of course not, you know? That's sort of the whole point of the journey, to learn and grow and make different decisions. If we started off perfect, there would be no journey. There would be like I truly believe that that is the reason that we come here. You know, we come here, and when I say come here, I mean we're born, we come to earth, you know. I know not everybody believes that, but that's what I believe. I believe that we come here with the purpose to learn particular lessons, you know. And I do believe that we choose what we come here to learn, um, what we come here to do. As I've progressed upon my own personal journey, I can look back and see how everything sort of did have its purpose. I saw what the repetitive lessons were trying to teach me, and maybe how I perpetuated them. And maybe that's what I feel the guilt for. Yeah, I mean, I guess I expected to come out the womb and just understand everything. 'Cause when I examine this guilt of looking back and, oh, why couldn't I have been different? I don't, that's just where you started, you know? And I mean, it's easy for me to, rationalize that. It doesn't always change the feeling of being disappointed that that I am not sometimes a different person. Yeah. I did a lot of stupid things over and over again. I let things happen to me, and I understand that a lot of that also came as a byproduct of my environment and what I was taught. And that brings me to another thing: jealousy. Growing up, I had a very pessimistic attitude, and one of the habitual things that would happen within myself is constantly comparing myself to people who are obviously more of what I wanted to be. Want/wanted to be. I know that a lot of those people that I compare myself to did not have to overcome or deal with the things that I had to deal with. So no fucking wonder they're where they are. You know, if you have a solid foundation to build upon, it's a lot easier to come out right off the bat a healthier person. Obviously, it does nothing to compare yourself in general, you know. And I also don't want to take away the fact of whatever things maybe they have gone through or triumphed over, even with their maybe healthier starting points. I wanted to say head start because it practically is a head start. And I'm not going to go on this tangent for too long. Because I know maybe it's just that bitter part of me that again wished that I had that. And I mean, who wouldn't wish to have a fucking healthy environment to grow up in as a child? Of course, everybody wants a healthy, loving environment that fosters and nurtures you into becoming the best version of yourself. Of course, of course. But I am also so appreciative of my perspective, the perspective that I have gained through the experiences that I have had, even the dark ones, you know? And it's even more valuable because I've come out of it. I have climbed out of the fucking hole, you know? And I now understand what it takes to do that. I'm still very much becoming the person that I want to be or whatever. I'm still very much learning how to do that, how to be that. But I'm out of the fucking hole. Like, some people start off at, you know, ground level, and then I believe it's the majority. I don't believe most people have, you know, this idealistic, healthy environment that just nurtures and fosters the best version of themselves, etc., etc. But yeah, a lot of people get stuck in the fucking hole. They get stuck in the hole that their parents got stuck in, you know, that their parents, you know, taught them how to dig from generations and generations of people just not knowing better, you know? So we've gotten out of the fucking hole. And here we are, climbing the staircase to this higher version, right? And I think me having this, I think what I'm seeing in my head is I'm going up this staircase. It has no railing, no railing. I'm going up this staircase and I keep looking back. I keep looking back, examining. It's good to examine, but I think there's an echo. There's an echo coming from that hole. There's something I left in that hole. There's someone I left in that hole. Yeah, that's the old self. That's the old beliefs. And they're still yelling. Not really yelling anymore, but I still hear them faintly, faintly. And every now and then it gets a little louder, but they're still making noises, rattling things at the bottom of that hole. And I guess I'm wondering if there's anything back there worth saving. As a child, I grew up with this preconceived notion that I was not pure. I knew a lot for my age. And age range, I guess. We're talking single digits kind of thing. I was aware that I knew a lot more than a child my age should know. And I was curious about things that a child my age shouldn't know. And I would seek out things that a child my age should not know. So I had this instilled belief that I was no longer pure because I was not oblivious. Because that's what supposedly defines the innocence and the pureness of a child, is that they're oblivious to how the world works, or they're just oblivious. You know, that's the whole thing. They're oblivious. They don't know. And honestly, I don't think that's completely true. I think children know a lot more than we give them credit for, but for another video. I didn't believe I was pure. So I already had that sort of foundation to build upon. And of course, I grew up in a household that believed in Christianity. I don't really subscribe to that now, but at the time, I would think about that. That I was not pure in that sense. And then, of course, growing up and having a lack of boundaries put me in situations where I felt like I was even further tainted. And alongside that, again, I grew up very pessimistic, so I had a lot of ugly, unpure feelings. Feelings that I felt I should not have, whether that was at a particular age or just in general, or not, should not have, but just weren't valued, valued in having. Feelings like jealousy and self-hatred. So not only did I have this feeling of being tainted physically, my spirit, was tainted. And approaching my healing with this belief that I was unpure made me feel like I constantly had to compensate externally for the ugliness, the unpureness that existed within me, the darkness that existed within me. I tried very hard to be a light and to project light and be kind and generous, despite how I may have been feeling internally. I tried to be very hypervigilant about how I presented in the world. I felt like I had spent the majority of my life thus far spewing negativity, and I didn't want to be that anymore. I wanted to be somebody who lightened the room, who makes people smile instead of brings them down. As much as I tried to project that bubbly, positive attitude, I knew inside that wasn't genuine, and that further reinforced the feeling that I'm not really pure, that I'm not really who I want to be. And when it comes to jealousy, that particular feeling, when I would be around people who had things that I wanted, who looked a certain way that I wanted, had certain things that I would perceive as advantages, I would feel internally taken over by this, again, self-hatred and comparison, and the demons, they would just rise to the surface, and I would do my best to portray happiness for them having these things that I want. But I wasn't happy about it. That's not how I actually felt. I was consumed in this, why can't I have that? Why am I not worthy of that? And in turn, again, I would feel that I was not pure, that I was not genuine, because a truly pure person wouldn't have feelings like this, apparently. A true person of the light would be happy and would be genuinely happy to share in somebody else's joy of whatever great things are happening in their life. It just made me feel like an imposter. But even if I wasn't feeling it, I wanted to act with conscious awareness, I didn't want to spew that negativity. I would rather pretend to be happy than, I guess, spew negativity. And if you dive into spirituality and all that stuff, they'll tell you that it's not really your intentions, apparently, that matters. It's your belief. And I guess I would constantly come back to, I don't have a true belief, that I'm worthy of the things that they have, or else apparently I would have them. Which again makes sense, considering the environment I grew up in and all of that jazz, of course. I don't have this instilled belief that I'm just completely worthy of everything that I want, all the second that I want it. All that to say, you're not perfect, and it's okay. It's perfectly okay. The goal is to learn the lessons. The goal is to listen to the inner niggle that's telling you this isn't working. The way we've been doing things isn't working. It's not, the goal is not to be perfect. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to grow as a person, And sometimes you gotta start with understanding why you do things. And I honestly think maybe, I don't know, I think that a lot of people know instinctively, maybe, why they do things. And that's great. I guess knowing is half the battle and all that. But it's taking the actions then to change. That's the work. That's the journey. You gotta take the steps, put one foot in front of the other, etc. And it's okay to not be perfect along the journey. You're still a human being, and depending on what you're coming out of, what hole you're clawing yourself out of, sometimes you're gonna fall back, sometimes you're gonna scrape your knees, sometimes it's not linear. It's not so much of this perfect staircase, even though that's how I see it in my head. And maybe that's why it's such a, it feels like such an alarming thing when old stuff comes back up. Yeah. I've come a long way. I've come a long way. And honestly, I keep getting to this point where I really feel like, all right, it's over. I'll never have to deal with that again. And that hasn't been true. Every time I feel like it's over, the demons start rattling boxes. And honestly, I actually think maybe that is a sign that you're still going in the right direction. It's a part of the journey, It's a part of the journey. I want to embrace the good and the not so great. I want to know what it takes to build resilience. I have come across a lot of people who live in comfort and they set everything around themselves in order to not confront what makes them uncomfortable. And that may work for them. That's great. If that's you, that's great, It's your life. Create with it what you want, Truly. But I know that for me, I want to be a person that faces it head on. True Aries spirit, I want to face it head on. I want to feel the fear. I don't want the fear to triumph me. I don't want the fear to triumph me. I don't care what comes across in my path. If it hurts, if it If I completely fall apart, I want to feel all of it. Because I know I have the capacity to get back up and build again and come back stronger. I've shown myself that much already. I want to be the person that faces it. I want to be the person that does the hard thing, the hard things over and over again, and faces the fear over and over again. I don't. I had a dream last night. I won't get into all the nitty-gritty details, but there was a school bus full of children, and me and another child were let off the school bus. Apparently, there was some sort of emergency, but they were letting us off so we could get something from this whatever. We were being let off so we could get something and get back on the bus, kind of thing. And I felt this. There was some scenario of an emergency, and we go in, and I'm doing one thing, and I'm expecting the child to go and pack whatever she needs to get, and she did not understand the assignment. The bus is parked outside or whatever, and somehow in the midst of me trying to help her out, I get distracted. We're both distracted, and I don't know how much time goes by, but at some point I realize, oh, the bus! The bus has been waiting outside the whole time. So I go out and I see that the bus has left. They left. No honking, no warning, like, hey, we're still here kind of thing. The bus just left. And in the dream I kept thinking, like, why didn't they warn me? Like, why didn't they beep or let me know before they left kind of thing? And of course, upon waking up and examining the dream, I'm like, there's a bus full of other fucking kids. Like, they can't just sit there and wait forever, for you. And, I don't want to miss the bus. I don't want to miss the bus. I don't want to keep myself from doing the things that I'm here to do out of fear. I can't. I can't give myself the option. So imperfectly, I will stumble forward until I start to hit my stride, and I know that it will become easier to face the fear. I'll grow more trust in myself, and I do trust myself even now. I'm still at the very beginning. I saw a quote today as well. You're scared because it matters. You're scared because it matters. Exactly. You're scared because it matters. This makes me think of my mother. She tells me, or has told me, a lot of stories of her growing up being very talented and being seen, her talent being recognized, but she was so averse to the spotlight that she never pursued it. Of course, she didn't really, maybe not of course, but she expressed to me that she just really didn't understand. She was so young in the head, as she would describe it. I don't think she realized the potential that she had. And I use her example a lot. I use her as an example to face the fear, to do it anyway. Because I know that's what I'm here to do. And I will be satisfied as long as I fucking do it. Period. It, it doesn't matter if I make money from it. I'd love to make money from it, obviously. Please, I welcome it. But my concern is doing the thing, doing it, putting it out there, letting myself be seen. I've yearned my whole adolescence, my whole childhood, my even up until this point, to be seen, to be recognized, to be felt. But nobody even has the opportunity to do that if I don't let myself be seen, if I don't put myself out there in the first place. They won't be able to see me from my room. Unless we do this. And but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah, we're getting to that point where I'm pretty sure I've said that all I needed to say. But now I've gotten in the groove and I don't want to turn the video off. Maybe that's another learning thing. Another thing for me to learn. How to say goodbye. How to know when to stop. If there's anything else I feel like I didn't fully get to address because I really just let myself flow with this one, I'll do a part 2. If not, then this is what it is. And I'm happy with it. I feel like this is what it's all about, kind of thing. This is what it's been about. There have been so many times that I sat down to record and I was just so in my head, trying to deliver the lines perfectly. And right now, I'm just not going to worry about that. I'm not going to worry about that. If it stops me from doing the thing, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm sorry. I'll get better as I go. And I know that. I'll get better as I go. Yeah. Yeah. That's what it is. I'll get better as I go. You'll get better as you go. But you gotta start somewhere. You gotta take the first step. Babies don't come out of the womb running, It's a long time. Like, if you really think about it, it's a long ass time. Months. Okay, I don't know, maybe months at least for them to really get walking, Yeah, and then you gotta learn how to walk before you fucking run. It's the same thing with anything you want to do. You gotta think of yourself as a little fucking baby. You're just a baby. You're just a little baby trying to learn something new. Be okay being a baby for a while. Get your bearings. Don't try to fucking come out the womb running. There's no need for that. And I feel like when you take the necessary steps to gradually build it up with consistency, you're building the muscles that you need for it to be stable for the long run, for the long run. The long run. I did not intend for that to, anyways. Exactly. I'm getting like this image of like, like imagine if a baby came out of the womb and tried to start running before it started like crawling or something like that. I feel like the muscles would not develop properly. Like what's in my head is deformed. Like the legs would be deformed in some sense because it wasn't able to build up the proper muscles to fully support the weight. of this growing child, you know? And soon that child, like, there's just this constant growth. That's what life is about. It's this constant growth. Yeah, you start off as a baby, you crawl, you learn to walk, you learn to run, and then the whole fucking child grows and continues to grow. And the child grows into an adult. Like, and we go through this learning all the time in so many areas of our life, Some people are still crawling in certain areas of their life. Some people are still crawling. And some people never intend to get past crawling in certain areas of their life, whether that be emotional maturity. I'll just leave that example. I'll just stick to the one example. Because that's the main one that's coming to my mind. But yeah. This has been really nice. It's been really nice to just talk, I feel like this was valuable time spent. I hope you took something from this. I think there were a lot of gems. And if nothing else, this has been extremely valuable time spent for me. This is a part of facing the fear. And I'm not drunk, I'm not high. This is pure me, pretty much. And I'm facing it. I've done it. I set up the camera. I got in front of the camera. I turned the camera on. I started recording. And I fucking talked. And I did it. This has been on my head for a while now. And though this is not at all how I pictured this video going, I don't know, I liked this. I liked this a lot. I enjoyed this experience. And if anybody else is able to take something of value from this, that will be the cherry on top. But first and foremost, I enjoyed this. This was nourishing for me, and maybe that's where we need to approach the things. Yes, it's for the world, sort of, but it's really for you to honor yourself, to honor your heart's call, your soul's call, whatever you want to label it as, your dreams, your desires, just stuff that you want to do, whatever it is, Thank you. If you've gotten this far, I feel like we've really went on a journey here together, and I appreciate you coming on this with me, because I don't know, yeah, this has been nice. I really don't want to go. Yeah, I appreciate you being here for me to talk to. Wow, you see, we get so caught up in taking the first step, and then sometimes, once you just get over the fucking first step, it actually feels good. You're like, wow, why didn't I do this sooner? If I can leave you with anything, again, it's not about being perfect. Do the thing. Start somewhere. And don't worry about being perfect. Just do it anyway. Do it anyway. Let's do it anyway together, And I'm sure after this video, the next one, I'm probably gonna have to face that little thing that's like, apprehensive about setting up the camera and talking and how am I gonna do this and blah, blah, blah. Lighting. I know the lighting's not the best because I was too fucking caught up in the lighting, and I'm like, okay, if the lighting's gonna get in the way of me just fucking doing the thing, then fuck the lighting, you know? Fuck the lighting. We'll figure it out later. We'll get better eventually. We'll fucking get better. But fuck the lighting, you know? Fuck the lighting. Fuck the lighting. And maybe that's gonna deter how many people even want to watch the video. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.